like 5, well, probably 7 minutes now. Actually, I know I can go on a lot. So let's get on to the actual form. We're making a form, and the action needs to be equal to that second page we made. See, here the action handle underscore form.php is this it's this exactly identical here as it is here. Okay. And the method, we've already talked about that. I'm going to be using post, okay? Just, even though I don't actually need to use post here, I'll try and demonstrate it with get if we've got enough time, because it's useful to see your own pages submitting stuff through get. Anyway, we're just using something new here, actually. We're using a field set. Now, let's actually go to the page. Remember, you've got to open up your WAMP server, go to localhost 8080, port 8080 for me. Let's go in here. And we can see here, it's got like an outline around the form. Basically, that's all the field set is. I'm just supplying a width in the style attribute, so this width is only 500 pixels. And I'm saying on the text line, that basically means everything inside the field set, align it left. If I'll just demonstrate, if I change this to the right, then it actually goes to the right, as you can see. Okay, change that back to left, and we're using a legend here and saying text line left, please fill out the form. So the legend is just this thing, and the text line left means rather than putting the legend in the center, it will just align it to the left, which I think looks nicer. Finally, on to the actual form. Basically, I'm just introducing a new tag here, which is the label tag. As far as I'm aware, it doesn't actually do anything, really. Yeah, I don't think it does anything. But you can set the attribute for to, and the value inside the attribute for has to be equal to the name attribute of some other input. So here you can see the value inside the for name is equal to name, and you can see here we've got an input with a name of name. Okay, if you follow that at all. Basically, you can forget the label tag if you don't understand it. Just forget it. All that matters is that we're making an input, which is a text input, and it's got a name of name. The ID doesn't really matter because PHP actually gets it through. Actually, yeah, sorry. Okay, no, never mind. The ID doesn't really matter because PHP actually gets it through the name, so that's all that matters. And basically, we've covered all this stuff in the HTML tutorials. I'm just demonstrating radio buttons, select, drop-down lists, and text areas, basically. Yeah, so that's the form, really. Now let's get on to the stuff that actually matters. This is the PHP, and this is where we actually get the user input, okay? In PHP, there are 3 preset arrays. We're going to cover arrays later in the series, so don't really worry about them for now. There's only one part you actually need to worry about, and I'll talk about that in a sec. And these 3 arrays contain the form variables we want. 2 of those arrays will always contain our variables, okay? I'm going to talk about why in a sec as well. The arrays are the $_request array, the $_get, and the $_post array. You should recognize the two of these arrays, the get and the post, because these are the same as the form method. I'm sure some of you are already formulating what is inside these 2 arrays. Our variable will be in the get array if we sent the data via the get method, and the same is true for post. So our variable will be in the post array if we sent our form data via the post, and in this case it won't be in the get because our method was post, so it will be in the $_post array. Now request, $_request collects both get and post variables, so our form data will always be in request, and that's why I said 2 of those arrays will always contain our variables, because request will always contain it because it collects both, and then one of the 2 of get or post will contain our variables as well. So let's just take an example here. we're making a new variable called name, and we're assigning it a value of $_post, two square brackets, two single quotes, and then some value here. Now the value we put here in between the single quotes and square brackets needs to be, this value needs to be equal to the name attribute of one of the inputs in our form. So in this case, the value here is equal to the name attribute of this input here. Okay, so what will actually happen is this $name variable is going to contain the value that was inside this input. Okay, and just as a demonstration, I've made another variable called name also and assigned it a value of $_request, square brackets, single quotes, name, single quotes, square brackets. Okay, and these two are exactly the same. Now, when collecting form data, whether you want to use $_request, that should be, as opposed to $_get or $_post, is completely up to you. I had heard somewhere that there was a problem with $_request, but I did some research before the tutorial, and it doesn't seem like there's actually a problem. One person said, though, that if you know the data is being sent via either get or post, use the corresponding array. Otherwise, use the $_request array. Or also, in some cases, you need the variable to accept both the get and post, to accept from both the get and post. Like, say you've got two pages, one sends data via the get method, one sends data via the post method. You could use $_request to collect from both pages, so it doesn't matter where it sends through, and you don't need to check where it's sending from, etc. Okay. And now I'm just printing out the name. So let's actually fill out this form. A SIB, my favorite color is green. I am between 10 and 15, and my question is, hello there. Not even a question. Submit the form. Okay, and we see here we've outputted the variables name and name also, and it's just said a SIB because that's just to demonstrate that these two variables contain exactly the same, that using $_request will yield the same results as using $_post or $_get. Okay, and finally we're just collecting in the other bits of data, so the favorite color, the age, and the question, and we're just outputting them formatted so the values are bold. So it says, thank you, SIB. You said you were in the 10 to 15 age group and your favorite color is green. Yep, that's right. Your question, hello there. Okay, and that's all correct. So this concludes, whoops, let me just close that anyway. This concludes PHP tutorial number 8, and yowza, almost 20 minutes. Okay, I'll end it right now. See you guys later.